Kai, guess what? Our surrogate is pregnant. Because I feel like he's just been so merciful, I don't feel like this story is ours. This wasn't just made for us. It's got to be made for somebody else too.
God has played a major role in this, and I know that God has a big plan for this baby, and He really prepared all four of us to be able to do this.
Every step was just amazing, to a point of, even when you tell the story, it sounds unbelievable. And on the other side of it, when we decided to commit to it, that sounded daunting. And you go from daunting to unbelievable, totally by God's grace.
Oh my gosh, this is so soft. Thing to put Can you put that in your bathroom closet, please? Thank you. All right. The greatest joy for me in this process has been the redemption of a birth story. With our first pregnancy, I was really sick with Kysten, and to the point where I was in the hospital a lot. I was in ICU, almost died of sepsis, and it was the entire 9 months was just very, very hard. And my OBGYN even said, "You were the worst pregnant woman I've seen in my, 25 years, whatever it is."
My epidural, things are good. Gonna have our baby soon. It's all gonna be over. And my life is gonna be so much better.
It's been a long road, but she's been an amazing champion throughout it all. Fighting the PICC line, staph infection, the other PICC line, blood transfusions, ICUs, Zofran pump. You gonna miss this guy? So Zofran pump.
By God's grace, once he was born, we both, recovered. We didn't know if it was a fluke or if that would happen again with more pregnancies. It took a couple years to pray about it, to get myself back on track health-wise, talk to our OBGYN a lot. We decided to go ahead and try again, and we did. And unfortunately, I got sick again right away, and I was just as sick as before. And unfortunately, we lost that baby really early on. When I went back to my OBGYN, I asked her, is it smart for me to get pregnant? And again, knowing that it's probably not a fluke because it happened twice. And her and I just had a long, candid conversation about, it's really not wise for me to get pregnant anymore. So we set off, trying to figure out what God had for our growing family, because I just really felt strongly that God wanted more for our family. Like, we are so blessed with our son. Like, Kyson's just amazing. But I had this inner feeling that God had something else.
And as we looked at options and looked at what's there, we really looked at adoption, and just for us, that wasn't the path. And so then we had our meeting on surrogacy, and I walked out of there in a cold sweat and said, there's no way I'm doing surrogacy. This doesn't feel right. This feels like we're playing God. I said, no chance.
I still had that nagging feeling that God was calling us to do this. So I kept praying about it on my own, and I didn't talk to Luke about it. And then so It wasn't maybe a year later or so that I had come back to him and I said, you know, can we revisit this?
So luckily I've got a close friend that happens to be a pastor, and so we had breakfast for a long time. We had a lot of different topics, but it took a conversation with him and then a conversation with a trusted friend of mine, it's an elder at a church, of just figuring out that even within surrogacy, as you dive into the science of it, God's still in control. The people aren't, the doctors aren't, the process isn't, God's still in control. And I think it was in that transition for me that finally opened a door of, all right, God's in control. We're not playing God. We're not taking his job. We're just looking at a different path.
Any sort of pregnancy was literally a risk of my life. And how could I ever ask somebody else to take that risk? I was really struggling with that of, God, like, I don't understand why you're calling me, why you're calling us to this. Because I can't ask someone to do that. Like, that's an impossible ask. The way that God helps me process things is letting me write things down and write things out. And so I just real quickly got on Facebook. I had like 5 minutes. And I asked that question of like, how can you ask someone?
When I was pregnant with my kids, I knew, you know, God was preparing me, I feel like, the whole time to be a surrogate. Just how well I did with my 2 kids during the pregnancy and how great I felt emotionally and physically and mentally. In high school, people would always mixed up our names, and we were very much alike and liked to do different extracurricular activities and student council, and she was always very sweet and nice to everyone, so she made a really good impression in high school. So she had posted asking someone if they had ever used a surrogate or had ever been a surrogate, and if so, what was their experience, and just kind of reached out and wanted to hear about it. And I had commented on the post that I had always wanted to be a surrogate, and so she then sent me a message and asking me why and the whole story. And so I kind of explained to her why I always wanted to be a surrogate.
She had sent me a text and just said, hey, can I call you tonight? Which, you know, we had a good relationship, but we weren't the type of friends that would call each other. You know, that day I remember so vividly, like, driving, and God just was like, surrogacy is a little bit of grace and a little bit of hope. And I was like, okay, that's weird, you know? And so I was like, oh, okay, God, like, what are you doing?
My pastor, she spoke on God calling us to do something and calling us, there's something that we're a purpose, there's something he needs us to do. I felt like he was just calling me. He was like, you need to talk to her. You need to talk to Hope and offer.
My initial reaction was, oh my gosh, like, I would love that. But I also wanted to leave space and not let my own personal, like, reactions be the, you know, deciding factor. So I wanted to leave space for her to say, you know what, this actually isn't right for me. We lived in that space of just really depending on God to move us forward and to show the way. And this is a super complicated process, but one reason why I knew that God was in it was that every step almost was pretty easy.
We felt like each step of the way, that was where God was leading us on that next step.
Throughout the process, you know, we had some delays due to COVID. We had some issues where we only ended up with 2 embryos. The first transfer didn't take. It was very emotionally hard on me, but like I knew he was there the whole time with me and walking me through it, and there was a purpose, there was a reason.
With every step of the way, every small step that we took, God just worked things out that we could have never done on our own. 11 years ago, we lived in California. We lived in a small apartment, and Luke was playing basketball at the time. And I remember Luke was gone for practice or a game, and I was kind of busy around the apartment, getting things together. And I remember feeling God, just this overwhelming weight on me. I remember seeing this mental picture. I would never call it a vision, maybe other people would, but like a mental picture of this girl, little girl, with pigtails. And in this like mental picture, like she turns around and like smiles at me. She's sitting on the ground, playing, and she has little pigtails, probably 2 or 3. And she like turns around, like looks at me and smiles. And I look at her and I have this feeling that I know she's my daughter. She's mine. At the same time, I have a feeling of separation from her when it came to her birth story. I thought that meant we were going to adopt a little girl. So I wrote a little bit of a journal thing, and then I tucked it away, and I didn't even think about it for 11 years. It wasn't too long after we found out Grace was pregnant with our embryo, which we now know is a little girl. I remembered that, and I was like, I wonder if I still have that journal entry. I realized in that moment, God planned this 11 years ago, probably earlier than that, but he told me about it 11 years ago. And my little feeble mind couldn't comprehend it at the time.
While challenges may be there, or difficulties, or this is a complicated process, that God is at the forefront and has been in charge of this story all the way back to us first meeting, and all the way back to her being in high school with Grace, and just God orchestrating this story over such a long period of time.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe how much
little fingers. I mean, you can start to see them now.
I can't believe how much you can see already.
Oh my gosh.
It's real.
From our experience, pregnancy was a near-death experience. And so as you go through and you hear somebody's volunteering to be pregnant, for our reality and our experience, that's saying I'll step in for something that's incredibly risky and a huge sacrifice. When Hope was asking questions, I remember early on, she'd ask questions about, why would you do this? Like, where was that? And Grace is like, pregnancy's awesome. And she just has this positive optimism in spots where Hope had past experiences, hurts, and fears in a way that I feel like God just matched in a really powerful way for an experience beyond just having a child, and an experience of both of them being able to give and receive.
For every time I'm scared, she's excited, and vice versa. And for the times where I'm concerned for her, she's concerned for the baby. And I think that we have both done a really great job at trying to be selfless to the other. And that sort of attitude and relationship has helped us to find what's right for both. And I don't think that a surrogacy could be as effective without that.
What I didn't expect was how much that we would grow this bond, the four of us, and our families, and how just easygoing that really everything has been as far as that.
They're just amazing people, getting to call them our friends, and I mean, there's a really good friendship there. That's been amazing.
For me, probably the biggest joy is being able to see the redemptive story of Hope in the midst of this surrogacy journey. She's able to find some healing from challenges that she's had.
It's really important for us to have Kyson involved. We're, as an only child, we're a very close family, and he has just become an extension of our relationship, and he's a part of every part of our lives, really, you know. When we started this, he was like in kindergarten. His brain wasn't at a point that he fully understood what all of this meant, you know, and he didn't fully understand when I had my miscarriage either. He was there and we told him, but like he didn't fully understand it either. For Kyson, we wanted just to be really honest and at the level at which, you know, age appropriate level. Explain what surrogacy is and with your understanding. Stay still.
It is where they take a part from the mom and a part from the dad, and they put it together, then they put it in another girl's body, and then that embryo grows into a baby. Then when the baby's ready, they'll like cut the tummy or like however they do it, and then they'll take the baby out, and then they'll put the tummy back together. So at school we have this thing called campfire time where we all get on the floor and our teacher sits in a rocking chair and we tell her prayer request, and then we all pray, and every time I would pray for my little sister. I hope she has a great life, and I hope like that she in her sports that she wins a lot of championships.
I want him to know and realize that like this is all possible because he also was a miracle. And I hope that he gets to have a really close relationship with his sister, because you don't get to choose your siblings. They're given to you and they are a gift.
I hope what he's able to see is how amazing God has been and how amazing God's people have been to be able to expand our family. And in the midst of that, for him to be able to understand that that transition from being an only child to being a big brother is one that's incredibly worthwhile. And being able to understand that while he might not get all of our attention, he's able to share and teach and help in a powerful way with his little sister.
What I thought was the easiest way to understand was Mommy's going to be the oven, and Hope and Luke, the baby's the bread. They're giving the bread into to the oven. Mommy's just going to cook it for them and give it. And they kind of understood that. And then just explaining to them, no, it's not our baby. Mommy's she's going to carry it for him, and explain to him, Hope can't do this. This is why we're doing it, because she can't.
She's carrying a baby in her tummy for her best friends, and when she had us, When she had us, it was pretty, I think she had a little fun, a little bit. So that's why she wants to carry a baby for her friend. It's kind of hers, but it's actually Hope's and Luke's.
And why do you think that's something that your mommy wants to do?
Because she likes helping other people. When she first had it, I didn't really want to because I've never seen her have that big of a tummy. So I didn't really want to. And then she did. Then I was fine with it. Yeah.
They keep Grace active, you know, and they take care of her so good. Aria is just amazing with it, constantly rubbing her belly and just keeping her happy.
What do you like to sing to the baby?
Probably like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Why do you sing to the baby?
Because she probably likes singing.
It's not my child in there, but it's my wife who's doing this, and I want to make sure I'm taking care of her as much as I can, you know, like it was my child in there. If you can help other people, you should do that, and I hope they take that away from this and eventually understand fully why we're doing this. Like, they understand to an extent, but as they get older, I think they'll understand more, just as how I understood.
I want them to be proud of me for doing this. I want them to recognize that there is some sacrifices, but the sacrifices that we make so that we can carry this baby girl is for, you know, another family, and that it's important, and we get to make choices to help other people, and that we should always try and help others if we can and if we're able to.
Hello.
Hi.
What are we doing today, Grace?
We're gonna have a baby girl.
A baby. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I feel ready and calm and looking forward to finally meeting her.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, Mommy, Daddy, and Miley jump.
Okay, did you see the balloons on the...
We saw the balloons. We saw the I love you sign.
Okay.
Oh, so fun.
This is Cody's, and this is Leanna's.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Whoa, look at that. Wowza.
Welcome home.
That's so cool. Hello. Welcome Oh my God.
She was just waking up.
So little. I know. Isn't it so funny? So tiny.
Yeah, she cries like a pterodactyl.
Hi, thanks.
Can we get a bottle? She's angry.
Oh, she's happy there.
She started
With her brother.
I'm just floored that like God would choose to redeem our story, and just like, I'm just so humbled that like so many people desire a baby. And, you know, of course I was one of them, but so many people don't get that opportunity. And I don't know why he chose to redeem our story, because it could have easily gone the other way. But I'm so grateful. I don't feel like this story is ours. Like, it can't, like, this wasn't just made for us. It's got to be made for somebody else too.
I just think that at the end of the day, even with science and even everything that's there, God is completely in charge. And understanding that each piece of that journey, God has been there, from the physical to the relational to the spiritual, and being able to see the impact that he's made. And I never would have thought that surrogacy would have been a journey that I would have been called to, I would have been a part of, and I'm really glad that I have been.
I feel so fortunate and privileged that I get to do this. And so there may be some tough times with it, but in the end, you know, it's just so beautiful, and to be able to do this, it's worth it.
Everything about the process, like how we got here, how everything works, it's a miracle.
I just hope that she is successful in whatever she does, and she's as strong and confident as her mom, and that she grows to also be God-fearing and loving and know God, and know that he played a big part in her being here today.
I'm just really excited for her to step into this world and to be a part of whatever God's gonna do. And I think God's done a really cool work to start, but I'm really excited about what's next. Again, may not be perfect, but in the pursuit of God, I think there's something there, and I'm really looking forward to that.
So much had to happen to get her here. I'm just really confident that God's going to use her for his glory. And it could be in a really small way, or it can be in a really big way. But I hope for her that she would chase after God and bring glory to him in all that she does.
So baby Zeller, like we call her around here, or with my friends, I am so excited to meet you. Just know that you are loved already, so loved, and it's been fun getting to know you in my belly, and you are going to be one strong girl. I feel you move. I know sometimes in the beginning of the pregnancy, when I would move a certain way, I think I would startle you and you'd kick me really hard. Didn't hurt me, but, and you would remind me that you're there. And you've really empowered me, so I appreciate that. And I just feel so privileged that I get to be a part of your life. And I know that God has great things planned for you, and that you're going to do big things. And just know that we all love you and support you, and that we just can't wait to see you.
I'm Travis. I am the husband of Grace, who carried you. I am so excited that you get to watch this and see how everything happened. I hope you're playing soccer because you kick a lot, that's for sure, Grace. I get to feel you kick all the time. And we're just so excited for you to come, and yeah, it's sorry, this is amazing to know, and she gets to watch this. And you have amazing parents, like absolutely amazing parents, and your big brother is probably the coolest big brother ever. I hope you are enjoying everything that you have right now in your life.
She likes dolls and stuff. When she grows up, when we meet them, Aria can play dolls with her when she grows up, and then when we see them. I'm gonna be your true new friend.
I hope that she will be a good and wise and very friendly kind of girl, and I hope she grows up, and I hope we can be best friends.
I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that we went through this journey to get to a spot that you get to be a part of our family. And I think that being able to love you in a way that God has loved you, to be able to understand that God's grace and God's mercy and God's impact has been a part of the journey, for you to arrive on day one. And the verse in the Bible that talks about that you were knit together in the womb, your story of how you were knit together in the womb is an amazing story of redemption, people's sacrificial love, and being able to see you into this world. And as you step into this world, I think for all of us, and for you specifically today, understanding that Jesus is the only perfect one, but he is the one we get to pursue. He's the one that we get to love. And I'm going to love you with everything I can to be able to love you in that way, so that you can be able to see the perfect love that Jesus has given us. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm not going to do things well. I may be tired, or I may be grumpy at times. But at the end of the day, and at the start of every morning, I'm going to love you. I'm going to pray for you with every breath I have until we get to continue forward to make as much impact as we can on this world while we're both here.
Hey, baby girl. We are so excited for your arrival. And I know by the time you're watching this, you're already going to be here. But I just want you to know how much we have prayed for you, how much God has prepared for you. He has had you on his heart and on his mind for at least, I know of 11 years, because he told me so long ago that he was going to bring you into our lives. So I, as your mama, I just hope that you see the miracle that God has put together to get you here on this earth, and that you would turn around and praise him with your life. And baby girl, you are so loved, and you have a big brother that is so excited to have you. So whether you guys are arguing right now and being normal siblings or not, I hope that you always find the absolute blessing of each other as siblings. So your dad and I love you very much, are so excited for you, and we just want you to understand how much and how many people have loved and prayed for you to get you here.